Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about business and how to start and register a business. So I'm going to be sharing with you how I did it, and I'm also going to be answering some of the questions which you asked me on Instagram just regarding starting a business and running a business. So I hope you really enjoy this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comment them down below and subscribe to my channel for more videos. So yeah, let's get right into it. So let's start by talking about how I started my business. So I started my business back in 2015, actually. It was the beginning of second year. So that is the first time I actually remember exchanging a product for money. But yeah, so let me actually just tell you how it started. So if you don't know what I do, I'm a fashion designer. I have my own fashion label. I have my own clothing line, and that's the business that I have. It's called Style Tech by Teshie Limited. Let's actually just start from there. Yeah, that's my business. So back in 2015, I remember it was New Year's, and I had just gotten a new phone from my mom, like maybe less than a month before that. And I had lost it on New Year's because I'd gone out and just been careless and lost my phone. So when I came back home, she was just like, I can't believe you've lost another phone. Like, this is crazy. I'm not getting for you another phone. You have to sort yourself out. And this time I remember I had to go back to Cape Town in like a month's time because school was starting in February. And I was just like, how can I go back without a phone? So I decided to start a business to try and make money from selling products. So at that time, I had always just loved pillows, and I loved African print fabric. So I went on YouTube and like went searching how to make pillows from beginning until the end. And then I asked for like a little loan from my mom. I think she gave me something like 2,000 or 3,000 Kenya shillings. I went to River Road in Nairobi in town, and then I bought like the pillow stuffings, and I also bought like a fabric, and then that's when I started making pillows. And then I would just take the photos of the pillows and the cushions, put them up on my Instagram page. I think those photos are still up on my Instagram page, so I'm going to put some of the posts here for you guys to see. And yeah, basically that was my first little business selling cushions and pillows, and it did really well actually. Just from marketing on social media, and from my mom marketing it to her friends, my aunties, her friends. Like I ended up getting enough money to replace my phone, and I even got a better phone than I had lost. So that was my first sort of memory of having a business. So by the end of the holiday, I was just like, okay, I reached my goal, have my new phone. I'm going back to Cape Town. Bye, peace out, and I forgot about the business until last year when I just decided that I wanted to relaunch my clothing line. So I think during those past few years, I was just trying to perfect my and not really perfect, but improve my sewing skills. So actually in 2015, when I just started my business, I had just gotten a sewing machine that time. So making those pillows, I was actually using my sewing machine, but then I had just learned how to use my sewing machine. So and I was making everything myself. Yeah, I wasn't using a tailor, and everything was done by me. So last year, in the beginning of last year, I decided that I wanted to relaunch my clothing line, and I wanted to take it more seriously. So I decided to relaunch it. I gathered my friends, and I took their measurements. I sewed for them like little cute off-shoulder tops, which I had previously sewn for myself, put them on social media. People had loved them, so I was like, okay, you know what? This is going to be the first product that I launch with. So I went to the tailor, paid her to like sew the tops for my friends, and then we had this big photo shoot at my place, and those are the photos I used to launch my business on social media and on my website as well. So that was January last year, and the reason I actually started it, because I think by that time my blog was picking up. It was doing quite well. I was getting quite a lot of like exposure, being invited for a lot of events, and I think I was just not feeling that satisfied with being a fashion blogger. I wanted to be more. I knew I could be more in the fashion industry, and I wanted after going for so many fashion weeks and going for like so many fashion events, I wanted to be a part of the fashion industry as a fashion entrepreneur and as a brand, not just as a fashion blogger. So yeah, that's why I started my business. But then, so I went back to Cape Town in February to finish my studies, my university studies, and I didn't have time to work on style tech. I was just busy studying basically and trying to get my degree. So I remember like March, April, May, June, like they were really dry. Like I was not doing anything for style tech. Also because I always felt guilty if I would do anything fashion related. And I've talked about this before on my YouTube channel. So I'll leave the link to that video here. When you guys get time or after this video, you can go and watch that one. But I basically took a break and I was just like, no, let me actually focus on my studies. Yes, so I think I did one thing like during that period, like in March, I participated in like a pop-up store. And I remember it was such a fail. You guys, like, oh my God, it was the biggest fashion fail of the century. Because I remember I had left my like a crucial part of my sewing machine in Kenya when I traveled back. And I only realized after I had already registered for this thing, and I didn't want to pull out because I was just like, no, Teshie, you can't give up. So I remember I was hand sewing things and I was just trying to get things like, it was just a mission, let me tell you. But I took part and it was a fail and I moved on with life. So in July, I came back to Kenya, June, July, around that period. And I decided, like, no, Teshie, you have to actually take this thing seriously. That's when I started my Instagram page for just my fashion design business. And then that's also when I applied for the Towards Fashion Incubation Program and I got in. And that really helped me actually grow my business just from the things we learned and from the things we were pushed to do. So one of the major things we were pushed to do is register our businesses. And by that time, I hadn't even thought of like registering my business, having a business bank account. Like, dudes, I was just my mind was not even going that far. So now I'm going to share with you like just my experience with registering my business in both Kenya and South Africa. Yeah, let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by talking about how I registered my business in South Africa, just because I feel like it's much easier to register a business in South Africa, especially if you're a South African citizen. So if you're South African and you're watching this and you want to start a business and you want to register it, girl, like what are you waiting for? Or guy, what are you waiting for? It's so easy as compared to Kenya. So the first thing you need to do, okay, so for me as a foreigner, I was really like researching about, because one of the things that the Truworths guys were like emphasizing was that we all register our businesses. And for me as a foreigner was a bit trickier because I don't have a South African ID and you need a South African ID number to register your business in South Africa. So I was researching on how foreigners do it in South Africa, and I was just getting like outrageous things like you have to have like such a big income, your company rather has to have been making so much money, or your company needs to have been registered. Okay, so one of the things was like your company has to have been registered also in your home country and needs to be making this amount of money. You need to have put in this amount of money in SA. And I was just like, no, there has to be an easier way that foreign entrepreneurs in South Africa are starting their businesses. So after asking around and talking to my program managers for the Truworths program and just talking to various South Africans, I found out that another way as a foreigner can register a business in South Africa is to partner with a South African. So basically what I had to do was to partner with South African to register my business in SA. And I chose to partner with my friend, one of my best friends called Ati. So she's South African, and she had, at that point, I was really thinking about who would be the best fit for my business and my brand. And she had really been helping me with like advertising my business, photo shoots. So she'd be my model for a lot of my photo shoots. She'd give me a lot of accounting help because she was studying my accounting, financial help. And I was just like, this is the person I can trust with my baby. So I partnered up with her. And then the next thing we did was log into their online registration platform. So the online business registration platform in SA is called CIPC, which stands for, just hold on. So CIPC stands for Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, and it's so easy, guys. So you just log into just go into the website, and then there are a number of things that you'll have to do. So the whole like price or cost of registering a business in South Africa is 175 rand. Can you imagine? 175 rand, and this is for a private liability company. Yeah, so 175 rand includes reserving your company name and also registering the business itself. So to reserve the company name, it's 50 rand. And what you do, you just give them like different names that you want to call your business, and then they will take some time to search and see if that name is available. So you give them like three options, I think. You give them three options, and then they'll tell you if those names are available or which ones are available. Then you choose the name that you want, and then they'll reserve it for you. So they'll reserve it for a period of 90 days, which is actually more than Kenya, because I think in Kenya it's 30 days. If I'm not wrong, I think it's 90 days in SA. Just, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And then once you've reserved your name, then 120, the rest of the 125 rand goes into registering your business. So then what you'll need to do is just fill in some information online, some personal details, your ID number of all the directors. You have to give them copies of your passport and ID, and then yeah. So for me, being a foreigner, I couldn't just give them a copy of my Kenyan ID. I had to give them a copy of my passport. And then with Ati, we just used a copy of her ID and her ID number, and I give in my passport number. So the main thing is that you need someone with a South African ID to register a business in South Africa. So I listed so Ati, what our agreement is that she's a silent partner, so she doesn't really like control the company, but she every year I pay her a percentage of my earnings, and she helps me in just other things in the business as well. Yeah, so once you've given all that information, then the process is very automatic. Then they'll email you like all the documents, with all the company registration documents. So they'll email you like a registration certificate with your business registration number. They'll also email you a memorandum of incorporation, and then they'll also email you a notice of incorporation. So they'll give you all the documents that you need once you've registered your business. It's very simple, very easy, very efficient, and I just don't understand why the Kenyan one is a bit more hectic. Like we're a third world country. Let's get into the Kenyan one, and then we'll discuss it in depth. Okay, so to register a business in Kenya, you need to go online to eCitizen. eCitizen is like our citizenship admin website. So I don't know how to do it as a foreigner, by the way. So if you're a foreigner who wants to register a business in Kenya, like, I'm sorry, girl, I can't, or guy, I can't help you. But this is if you're a Kenyan citizen, because I'm a Kenyan citizen. So you log into eCitizen. I'm sure you probably also all have eCitizen accounts if you're over 18. So then the first step would be to choose a name and reserve a name. So I think there's a cost to reserve the name. So by the way, when I was registering my business in Kenya, I wasn't physically in Kenya, I was in South Africa. So I was liaising with my mom, and so my mom was helping me a lot, and I was doing things on my Citizen. I sent things to her. She was getting documents for me. It was a bit intense, but yeah. So the first thing is to reserve a name. I think I was trying to check for the exact prices online, and I think I saw something like 150 Kenya shillings per name. So like you can give, I think, 5 names. So I think it's per name for them to search if the name is available. You have to give like 5 names. So I think each of the 5 names, they cost you 150 Kenya shillings each. For me, I just know the whole process of me reserving my name and getting to see what names were available. I paid 1,000 Kenya shillings. So I don't know the exact breakdown, but for my name reservation, I paid 1,000 Kenya shillings. So once you finally reserve your name, I think they'll leave it open for 30 days. And then during those 30 days, you need to register your business. So the next step will be to fill in some business registration forms online. That ask you for different details, like the names of the directors in your company, what your company does, your age, your gender, your physical address, stuff like that. Yeah, and then once you fill in all that, you also need to submit some documents. So these documents, I don't know how people got them in. Like if you're a business owner in Kenya, let me know how you obtain these documents, because what I did was we actually hired a lawyer who helped us with coming up with memorandum and articles of association. So they really helped me with my business registration in Kenya. That's why I probably, if this information is a bit skewed, it's because I got a lot of help from a lawyer. So they helped me to prepare the memorandum and articles of association, and then we submitted these documents online to eCitizen. Once you submit these documents, you also have to provide other details of your directors, as I said. Some of these details will also include your proof of ID and your KRA PIN and all those pictures of yourself and stuff like that. And then after that, you have to pay the company the business registration fee, which is 10,650 Kenya shillings, which is so much money. Imagine 10,650 Kenya shillings just to register your business. And this is without anything else. This is without the name reservation. This is without anything else. That is just so expensive as compared to what I paid in a say of, what did I pay in a say? 1,300 Kenya shillings, like it's crazy. Like that's too expensive. So anyway, you pay that, and then I think you also have to pay to list your company as a partnership or sole proprietorship. I listed mine as a sole proprietorship in Kenya. So I paid 1,000 Kenya shillings for that as well. And I also had to pay the lawyers. So in total, I spent a lot of money registering my business in Kenya, like way too much money. And I'm just like, this is a third world country with limited employment opportunities. How else are we supposed to like improve employment in this country if we're making it so difficult for people to register their businesses, and so expensive? Like it's so expensive to register a business. Yeah, like I know so many Kenyans with side hustles, but trust me, I'm sure a lot of them haven't registered their businesses. And how else are you supposed to progress and grow your company if you can't even just, like, it's difficult? Because I'm thinking of, like, let's say, just a basic menial worker who maybe is a gardener and maybe is into horticulture and wants to, like, sell flowers to, I don't know, to people. Like, for him, that expense of 10,650 Kenya shillings would be so expensive. So he would rather just not do it. It's just, it's like they're not promoting entrepreneurship in this country enough, as opposed to in South Africa, they're really, really pushing people to start businesses. Anyway, one other question I got, leave me your thoughts down below, what you think about this whole registration process in Kenya and the registration process in South Africa as well. I also want to address one question I got, which is not really related to registering a business, but someone asked me how I am able to pay tax as a business owner in South Africa. This is a whole other topic, which I'm not the best person to give advice on, but I have an idea. So there are 3 different types of tax a business is liable to pay in South Africa. The first one is income tax. So as a company, you are a provisional taxpayer, and you have to pay tax in 2 provisional payments per year, and it's on you to pay your tax. The second tax you need to pay is VAT. So if your business is making a turnover of over 1 million rand, then you're liable to pay VAT of 15%. I'm not making that, so I'm not liable to pay VAT, but you can also choose to voluntarily pay VAT even if you're not making 1 million rand per year, So yeah, the third tax that you also need to pay is employee tax, or pay as you earn, which you pay monthly. So those are the 3 ways to pay tax. I'm going to leave a link to our site that I found that explains in detail about how to pay tax, because that was really not the point of this video. But yeah, there's also another question I got asking me about how to get remote work, which is just so unrelated. But anyway, I'm going to cover how to apply for remote work and how to get remote work in another video coming up soon. So look out for that. Subscribe to my channel so that when that video goes up, you're informed, And yeah, if you have any other questions, any comments, anything to share, leave it in the comment section down below. Like this video if it was helpful. I really hope it was actually helpful. Subscribe to my channel for more videos coming up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.